These headphones cost £3,000. That is a lot of money. But what if, just what if they really could make you a better mix engineer? I've been using these for a year, so let's find out if they live up to the hype. Hi guys, I'm Thorne. It's good to see you. If you're watching this video, it's most likely because you're a conscientious mixing and mastering engineer striving for perfect mix translation, much like myself. As I've discovered the pitfalls of mixing on speakers in compromised rooms the hard and expensive way, I have gravitated more and more towards mixing on headphones and mastering on headphones. The Audeze MX4s have been a huge part of that journey, but the question is, can I honestly recommend them given the price tag? Well, let's see, but before we go any further, disclaimer, I am not being paid for this video, but Audeze have given me these headphones, hence the sponsored video tag at the beginning of the video to comply with YouTube community guidelines. First of all, let's address why these headphones are so expensive. The MX4s feature Audeze's double fluxor magnetic array to drive their ultra-thin uniforce diagram. Let me explain. A fluxor magnet array is an asymmetrical array of magnets designed to increase the magnetic flux density, in other words, the magnetic field strength of the array. The Audeze double fluxor array utilizes two fluxor arrays of neodymium N50 magnets, one on either side of the 106mm diaphragm in a push-pull configuration. These magnets are aligned and polarized accordingly to maximize the magnetic force through the diaphragm, resulting in a concentrated and symmetrical magnetic field. This delivers a flux density, or magnetic field, of 1.5 teslas, not the car, a Tesla being a measure of the magnetic strength. For context, your average fridge magnet is about 1 millitesla. A hospital-grade MRI scanning machine typically runs between 1.5 and 3 teslas, and the planet has a gravitational force of 6 microteslas, so these headphones are stronger than the planet itself. This results in the driver delivering higher SPLs per watt of power, lower distortion due to better control over the diaphragm movement, and supposedly better imaging and transient response, but more on that later. In addition to this more complex planar design, the Audeze Uniforce voice coil has a specially designed trace pattern printed directly onto the diaphragm, which varies the width and spacing of the conductive traces across the diaphragm. In regular planar drivers, the magnetic field strength is not perfectly even across the diaphragm, which can lead to uneven movement and distortion, reducing their fidelity. The Uniforce design compensates for this by modifying the trace geometry so the diaphragm is thinner where the magnetic field is stronger and thicker where the magnetic field is weaker. This minimizes variations in diaphragm tension, motion, reducing intermodulation, distortion, and resonances. As a result, the MX4s deliver clean transients and impeccable microdynamics, with their soundstage and imaging being incredibly realistic. The MX4s have a frequency range of 10 to 50 kHz, a THD of 0.1% at 100 decibels, an impedance of 20 ohms, and a relatively high sensitivity of 105 decibels per milliwatt. The low impedance design enables high sound pressure levels, provided they're paired with an amplifier that can deliver a high level of current. For context again, I run these 10 decibels quieter than the Headphones I reviewed in my last video here. The MX4s have a minimum power requirement of 100 milliwatts and a recommended power level of 250 milliwatts. Now, most audio interfaces are current limited and typically provide less than 100 milliwatts of power, so using a dedicated headphone amplifier is recommended to ensure adequate current delivery. The headphones are supplied in a sturdy travel case with a 4-pin balanced XLR cable and the necessary XLR to 1/4-inch jack and 1/4-inch jack to 3.5mm jack adapters. If you've never used a balanced cable before, you will need an amplifier with a 4-pin XLR connection. Balanced XLR headphone cables eliminate the shared ground return found in typical 3-pin jack cables, by using separate conductors for both the positive and negative signals of each channel. This reduces crosstalk, improves channel separation, and minimizes ground-related interference, resulting in a cleaner, more accurate sound, of which there is actually an audible difference. The MX4s deliver a detailed, fast and accurate sound across the frequency spectrum with very low levels of distortion, resulting in high definition in the low end and clarity in the top end. But it is the mid-range where these headphones excel for two reasons. The combination of planar magnetic driver speed, transient articulation, and sustained detail with the wide, revealing yet still natural sounding stereo imaging creates a lush listening experience. The width and depth of their soundstage is impressive and encourages you to pay more focused attention on the placement of elements in your mix with a heightened awareness of the space. You can really hear the detail of reverb, pre-delays, reflection, and diffusion characteristics. The result is a very well-rounded set of headphones that enhances your ability to make precise and, more importantly, confident mixing decisions. With width in mind, they need crossfeed. So in my experience, crossfeed is needed when headphones sound unnaturally wide and when I want a more realistic speaker-like soundstage. I use crossfeed with my Sennheiser HD490s, for example, otherwise my mix gets too wide and I lose the center focus and impact. I don't have this problem with the MX4s. They give me a wonderful balance of the two, so I don't bother with crossfeed. If I did, I'd be using real phones for this, which is where I house my headphone EQ profiles. Comment and subscribe if you'd like to see a review of real phones. Now, out of the box, the MX4s are very mid-range focused and lack low end, so they need to be tuned to a Harman curve or similar to deliver the balance with the low end you need for accurate mix translation. On screen now, you can see the curve I've settled on so far, although I am often tweaking this to further hone in my mix translation. The MX4's ultra-low distortion design means you can load them quite heavily with EQ before the drivers overload. Audeze headphones are known for being quite heavy, but compared to the 677-gram LCD-XC closebacks I use for tracking, the MX4s at 575 grams are much more manageable for long sessions. They feature a lightweight magnesium chassis with a carbon fiber suspension headband and beautifully soft leather earpads. The easily adjustable yokes and flexible headband make for very comfortable headphones. By the way, if you consider purchasing these headphones, I'll place links in the description below. Purchasing any of your home studio gear through these links is a great way to support the channel if you found value in this video. So, the $3,000 question, are the MX4s worth the price tag? Well, purchasing a set of headphones like this is a heavy upfront cost, but I genuinely believe it will be a value for money investment in your career. I've heard a lot of headphones, including the Dan Clark Stealths, and for me, these are the best all-round headphones that I've heard. They nail the low end, which may not quite be as brutal as the Nanos I reviewed last time, but these are more than accurate enough. The mid-range is expansive and just sounds lush. The top end is everything you need, and the center imaging to stereo width balance makes these very usable headphones for mixing and mastering. If you're a producer, these are probably a little bit overkill, but as with anything, if you're serious about your craft, get some serious monitoring. Now the $1 million question you're about to angrily thrash away in the comments, I suspect, is, would I buy these for £3,000 if I hadn't been given them for free? I think the best reference I can give you is that I prefer working on these to my £4,000 head Type 20 speakers, and I can take these anywhere. And knowing what I know now about room acoustics and mix translation, yes, I would buy these if I had the money. These are a much more reliable monitoring system than speakers in a compromised room. But now, for the multi-million-dollar question, will they make you a better mix engineer? No, absolutely not. It's all about skills, ears, taste, and experience. But these will make your job a lot easier and very enjoyable. I use these headphones every day and I'm nailing the mix translation every time. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe for mixing related content. Check out the Working Audio Tools podcast where Paul Third and I discuss all things mixing and interview industry professionals. I've been Ed Thorne. It's been emotional. Be kind to one another. Thanks for watching and I'll see you again.